Hi. So in this video I'm going to talk about the setup that I'm currently using to record YouTube videos, and I'm going to compare it with a previous setup that I had that was kind of a bit more complicated. So and I'm gonna talk about the advantages of the setup that I'm using right now over the previous one. So um, basically right now I'm using OBS Studio with my webcam and a good quality microphone to record my videos. But a while ago I was using this rig, which consists of quite a few things. I'm not using it right now, so that's why you see like wires hanging out. I just like put it together to like basically for this video to just show you what I had and how I used to do things. Basically, I have this camera over here. It's a GoPro Hero 5 Black. I didn't want to like spend the money on like a DSLR or something, so I used what I had. And GoPro Hero 5 Black is really nice for recording this kind of thing. It has a built-in. It can get rid of like the fisheye effect even within the camera. Even though like actually I think I basically you can I was able to do it either in the camera or in the software. Like either way, it's really good for recording video. And then I have two lights and a monitor to see what my GoPro is recording. It's connecting to with an HDMI cable. And then I also have a separate audio recorder so that I have a good audio. It's a Zoom H4 or Zoom H1 sound recorder. So that's what I used to use to record my YouTube videos. Here's one example of a video that I recorded in 2021 by using this rig. I'll leave a link to this video in the description. As you can see, like on this preview here, on this thumbnail, like I used to have this rig kind of to the side, and I would have like the computer monitor in front of me, so I'd have to turn over here and talk to the camera and then talk to the computer, or like not talk to the computer, but like when I start working on the computer I would be sitting, like I would turn away from the camera. So in my current setup though, I'm using OBS Studio, and that eliminates a lot of steps that I had to go through when I was using the previous setup. And like okay, so like let's go through a couple of things. So like once with the previous rig, once I was done recording, I had to put together, so I had to first of all import the footage from the camera and from the sound recorder, plus I would have some files probably from the screen capture on my computer, and then I would have to like sync the audio from the sound recorder with the video from the camera, and then also edit together the video from the camera and the screen capture. So that's quite a lot of steps. It took a lot of time to just do that, like basically just like put things together and like import and like convert. I also had like not a very powerful computer at the time, and it would do things very slowly. But even if I had like a faster computer, there would still be quite a bit more editing work, and like the project itself becomes kind of more complicated. And then the question arises, well, is it really worth it to have all of that complexity? Also, like an additional thing, I have these lights that would shine directly into my face, and like even though it did give me like good lighting and stuff, it just meant that every time I would sit down to record a video, there would be this feeling like I'll have to stare at these lights. And that's also got like kind of it's something that stands in the way of me just like rather than creating content, I have to worry about all of these things like all this moving around and like and syncing and transferring a ton of files, and so it's complicated. The fewer steps there are, the faster I'll be able to put out content. So that's why I kind of transitioned to this other setup, which I guess I could record a video with my phone here. I thought I would use my phone like for another part of the video, but actually right now I'm thinking it kind of makes sense for me um, to use it over here to just show you what I have right now in front of me, like physically. Let me just check some settings over here so that nothing is blown out and everything is like properly exposed and stuff. Okay, this looks alright. So let's see. Video. Alright, so this is what I have in front of me right now. I'm using the Blue Yeti microphone, and for my camera I'm using this the Logitech Brio camera, which records really good video, can even go up to 4K, although I'm not using it in 4K. I recorded in 1080p, and I'm gonna talk about it in a moment, like why I choose to do that. But yeah, basically this is my current setup. I'm also not using any lights other than my just normal room lights. This is a bit bright probably, and but basically I just have these lights. Currently they are a little bit kind of, I have this shadow on this side of my face, which I would like to get rid of so that the lighting is more even, but I'm kind of like still working on the lighting in the room so that I can simply use the room lights and not worry about the lighting, like no special lighting for like recording videos, just using, it will be good to just like be able to use the room lights and eliminate any kind of additional steps and kind of things to think about and to remember while making videos. So there's that. Now let me see. So what else did I want to talk about? Like the 4K thing again. Like I used to record in 4K. I think this video that I showed as an example, I'm pretty sure I recorded that in 4K. Let me like see. Yeah, it has the 4K. So like I recorded that in 4K, and I mean it's okay, but there's like some downsides to that. First of all, the file sizes are large. Like if you make a lot of videos, that will add up very quickly, and it'll basically be 4 times larger than you would have in 1080p. And like for tutorial videos, like what do you need 4K for? Like that amount of detail, is it really necessary? And like I kind of asked myself those questions, and I personally came to the conclusion that no, it's not necessary. So I'm simply using 1080p right now, and it's totally fine. The quality is really good. There's no huge file sizes, no kind of, it also like if you have a 4K video, it slows down editing as well. And unless it's something that merits having that amount of detail in your video, like if you're shooting like outdoor scenery or something, I mean that makes sense to have in 4K. Like it would be great to have that amount of like detail and like for everything to be that crisp, like and stuff. So like all of those like benefits of having high resolution are definitely definitely makes sense to have in something like that. But like if I'm just talking to the camera and making a tutorial, not really necessary, and I'd rather have like more compact file sizes and easier, kind of smoother editing process, and like all of that, and faster uploads. So I opted again against using 4K for tutorial videos, which is basically uh, what I'm kind of doing right now on my YouTube channels. So I guess that's kind of most of the stuff that I wanted to mention about the setup itself. Um, Now, yeah, like if I remember something, I'll talk about it later. Now, what I also wanted to talk about is basically my current setup, from the point of view of how I'm controlling things as I'm recording, and this is also kind of makes sense in terms of efficiency, because controlling, well, let's see, so like controlling things from my keyboard, from the keyboard of my computer directly as I'm recording, like I want to switch on the screen capture, here it is. I want to go back to the just like the camera view, here it is. I want to have like the entire desktop in view, here it is. Like I want to move my camera to a certain corner, I can do that as well. So like this is very nice to just like do on the fly instead of having to edit it in post. It's just like, you know, you're directing your own video as you go, and that fits in very nicely in the natural flow that is only present. You can't plan these things. It's just like it's only present as you're talking. It's spontaneity, but now what is available in that flow is the possibility to change like camera angles, or like even cameras. Here's my like other camera, which I'm not really using, at least at this moment, but it is there. So like you could do something like that. You could switch cameras from one to another, and it's great. And like if you were recording with two separate cameras, you'd have to just like sit here, and like what's going on in your mind is not really connected to what the viewer will be seeing. But in this case, it is connected, and this is what is great about this kind of setup. So, so right, that's also a point that I wanted to bring up. Now let me see. Now let me talk about kind of how I'm controlling this thing and how I set up my hotkeys, because this is quite important to have like a convenient way to switch things around. So I'm going to be using my phone again to record my keyboard so that you can see exactly how, like, where my keys are and stuff like that, so that makes more sense. Record. All right. So like if you go to OBS settings and go to the hotkeys section, you can like assign all kinds of things to control with your keyboard. But before I launch into like describing the hotkeys themselves, let me first talk about the scenes that I have set up. Okay, so here at the top you can see all of my scenes, and I kind of named them by using basically emojis for like camera and a TV, which TV stands for a screen. So I currently have two screens, and one is just basically an external monitor. If you remember, like from my previous shot where I showed like my setup, my current physical setup. Like I have a laptop to my left. I'm gonna just show it to you. Here it is. So that's monitor 0, and this is monitor 1. So that's why there's two kind of TV screens over here. which represent laptop screen, or represent screens, the laptop screen and the external monitor. So I like to just kind of give myself all the options that are available, and that's why I have so many scenes. But like, if I were to be switching like between all of these scenes with my mouse, it would get very kind of inconvenient. So I set up hotkeys for those. Let me first it's kind of hard to like know the order in which to talk about these things, but okay, so camera 0, camera 1, this is simply, so right now I'm switching to camera 0. That's just my laptop's built-in webcam, and camera 1, here it is, that's my Logitech Brio, which is in front of me, sitting on top of the external monitor. Now, so these were these two. Then the next two are monitor 0 and monitor 1. Monitor 0 is laptop's built-in display. There's nothing on it at the moment, but there we go. Like, that's laptop's display without any camera overlays or anything. And screen 1 is the entire screen, the entire current desktop. So, and the rest of them are basically combinations of these two. Now, when I have this like monitor 1 star, that means that it's basically showing half of that screen with the respective camera. So right now it's monitor 1, camera 0. That's my like built-in laptop's built-in webcam. But I usually, I'm using pretty much only this with the Brio. So that's monitor 1 star, camera 1. Now, then I have basically a whole bunch of other things, but they are all variations. They basically combine the camera with the monitor, putting them together with into this kind of view that you're seeing right now. So like right now I'm using this screen 1, camera 1, bottom left corner. So like for each corner, I have a scene for each corner, as you can see. So that's what that does. And I also have the same for the other display that I have for the built-in one. Again, like moving that camera around its corners. And now and I can also like have a different camera. So another camera, or like the other camera, the built-in webcam, and built-in webcam on the other display. So it looks like a lot of scenes, but they are just like, that's why there's that many. So like these three last ones are kind of like a bit weird, and I'm not like really using them very often, but like I think I used one of them in a tutorial once. This is basically both displays on the left. This is how they're stacked up, like kind of when I move my mouse from the bottom display, it goes up to the top one, right, like this. So this is kind of meaningful from the point of view of how things are set up on my computer. I can move like a window, like if I have a window here, I don't know, let me see, what can I, like I have a browser here, like if I move it over here and make it a floating window, so now I can move it all the way across to the top monitor, and that will be reflected like that. That's what it will look like on this screen capture on the left. But here, like physically, I'm moving. Here's the window on the laptop's built-in display. I'm moving it up, and it's appearing at the bottom of the external one. So that's how that works. Now this one is the same, but with the Logitech Brio camera, and this one is the same with both cameras. So like this is just like kind of some stuff maybe like for testing or like stuff like that. Probably not much, not very kind of. I probably won't use them very often in actual videos, but I kind of still like to have those. So one thing that's good to know when setting up these scenes is that in order to kind of make these different combinations, like where the screen where the screen capture should appear, where the camera should appear, etc. Using kind of these settings like cropping in the properties of your, so let me see, so like when you add a screen capture, you go to this menu, like click plus over here, and then you can add a screen capture, and then you can either add existing or you can create new. So like if someone's watching this tutorial and they're thinking like, well, how, like maybe you haven't used OBS a lot, or something like that, like if you're looking for a kind of a way to like wrap your head around it, like don't add basically a new source for each scene. You can have just one source. Like once you've added, for example, I've added here like my LG ultra wide monitor, and I don't have to like crop it for each scene over here in properties of the source. There's a separate thing for it that's called transform. So you go over here and you click edit transform, and then you enter your values over here, and you can do the math and you can make it very precise. I did the math and made it very precise, so like I know that what width it is specifically and stuff like that, so that everything's kind of laid out in a way that makes sense to you, so that it's also easier to edit later on, so that I know like how many pixels wide like this screen capture on the left is, for example, things like that. So yeah, just like add each source once and use the transform. That's kind of, I guess like it took me a while to kind of wrap my head around like how all of this is supposed to work. So that's why I'm mentioning this, so if someone's watching this, so they can kind of get to this point quicker. Yeah, use transform to position the part of the video wherever you want, and also to scale it down or to crop it, like all of that. Transform is the way to go. So that's that. Now okay, let me finally show you the hotkeys, because now would be a good time to do that. So if you open the settings and go to hotkeys, you can assign all the hotkeys that you want. But basically the way I did it is I just have one one modifier key, I suppose, which I chose to be Control Super Alt, and then I have different other keys that I press. For example, for starting and stopping recording, I press Control Super Alt R. For pausing recording, I press Control Super Alt Space, and unpausing. So you could have different combinations, but I have this kind of one primary combination that basically tells me, hey, like I want to talk to OBS and change this or that. So I mentioned these two hotkeys, right? Like recording and pausing. Pausing is pretty useful. Like that's another thing. When you're able to pause the recording, that means that when you kind of forget what you wanted to say, or like you need a moment to think, you don't have to like have multiple files every time. You can just simply pause the recording. Here's, by the way, the pause button is over here, but it's better to have a hotkey for that because it's just more convenient so that you don't accidentally click on stop recording, for example. But yeah, it is useful. And in order to use it, actually, you need to use the MKV format or MKV container for your output. Let me see, where you yeah, okay, so like over here, recording format MKV is grayed out right now because I'm recording, but this is where you set it. So like the default is MP4. With MP4 you can't pause, but with MKV you can, and that's also very useful. That saves up a lot of just confusing ton of files because you had like 20 takes and had to like pause a bunch of times and stuff like that. That kind of eliminates that as well. So pausing is great. Let's go through the other hotkeys. So I have a hotkey for starting and stopping virtual camera. Again, Control Super Alt backslash. Yeah, you kind of want to have those hotkeys, I think, pretty far apart so that you don't press anything that you didn't mean to press accidentally. That's why I have the recording key on R and the pause on space, so that I don't like stop the recording instead of pausing it accidentally or something like that. So it's good to think about things like that. That's also why I have stopping and starting virtual camera set to backslash instead of, like, for example, I could have set it to Control Super C, for example, like to start and stop virtual camera, but I already have like enable and disable preview on V. So like that's kind of that's prone to mistakes basically. So it's best to avoid that and have the keys quite far apart. If there's a chance that you might press something that could cause problems in some way. So let me see. Those are kind of the easiest to explain keys because they are all kind of located in this main part of the keyboard. Now I use the number pad for the remaining ones. So I control my switching my scenes with my number pad. And again, the main key combination that I'm using with my left hand is Control Super Alt. That's pretty much like always there. So if I press, let me switch to some other view like this. So if I press Control Super Alt 0, I switch to this main view basically. This is just like my main camera. This is kind of my home base basically. Control Super Alt 0 brings me to just like this camera, plain and simple, without anything in addition to that. Now if I wanted to switch to the other camera, to the laptop's built-in webcam, I hold Shift and again press 0. So like I'm pressing 4 keys with my left hand here. So by adding Shift, I switch to the other camera. So basically when I hold Shift, whether I depending on whether or not I hold Shift or not, one or the other camera is showing up. So basically, yeah, Shift is for alternating between the two cameras. So now if I press Control Super Alt dot on the number pad, that brings me to this screen capture view that I use the most, which is basically my camera on the right, and then the largest portion of the screen is taken up by the screen capture view. And again, if I hold Shift and press Control Super Alt Shift dot on the number pad, that switches between the cameras. So again, Shift is for alternating between the two cameras. So that's that. So now if I press Control Super Alt 5 on the number pad, that brings up my entire desktop of my external monitor, which is basically my primary monitor. If I wanted to switch to the to laptops built-in display, then I would press the / key on the number pad with the same modifier keys on the left. So that's the two displays without any camera. Now with the camera, like if I wanted the camera on this view, I can use 1, 3, 9, and 7 for the Logitech Brio camera, 1, 3, 9, and 7, and then if I wanted the same camera on my built-in display, I would use 2, 6, 8, and 4. And again, like if I hold Shift, I can do the same with the other camera. So see how that works? So like again, Control Super Alt +5, that's just the display without any camera. If I want a camera, I press simply a key in the respective corner. So like if I want it on the bottom left, for example, I press 1. If I want it on the bottom right, I press 3. 9 for the top right, and 7 for the top left. And like if you kind of rotate these keys like this, counterclockwise, you would get 2 for the bottom right on the other display, and then 6, 8, and 4 for the remaining corners. So that's how that works. And if you hold Shift, it does exactly the same, but with the other camera. So that's that. Yeah, and I also have this asterisk key on the number pad assigned to this kind of both to the view that has both monitors on the left stacked on top of each other. And if I hold Shift, that will change the camera. I don't have a hotkey for this one, at least yet, because I didn't have to like really use it so far. So these are basically the hotkeys. I hope it was clear. It's kind of difficult to explain, but once you kind of get used to this layout, it becomes very, very quick and efficient to just like switch. Like the ones that I use the most are just like main camera, screen capture, and like basically these two. But it's nice to have the other ones available, because sometimes I want to show the entire desktop, so I just hit like 3. I usually use the bottom right corner for my camera. So like I would press this, or like the camera is covering something, let me move it to another corner, or like let me hide it altogether. It's just like standing in the way right now. So as you can see, that kind of allows for a lot of flexibility when it comes to just like doing things on the fly, which is very nice. Which is kind of what I really like about this setup the most. It's not that let me stop the phone recording right now. I think I got enough footage from that. Like it's not that there's anything wrong with this rig. It's a good rig. Like I'll probably use something like that at some point for something else, but and I learned a lot from from using it. But just like from the practical standpoint, like there's no need to have like all of this syncing. And again, you can't get this live directing of your own video, where you can switch camera views on the fly with your computer keyboard, with this kind of rig. And so like it's also very nice to just like be able to use your normal keyboard. So like that's the way I usually sit at my computer. I simply sit over here and doing my stuff, and let's say a thought comes, oh, like I can make a video about this. So the only thing I have to do is open up OBS and start recording, and everything is over here. Like some videos are so simple that I don't even have to edit them. I might only like add some chapters to it so that people can like find the right spot in the video for what interests them. And like beyond that, the kind of, it really cuts down on the editing process by a lot. I don't know, like I don't have any statistics on that, like but definitely it cuts down on the editing by a lot. And also by just like having a less complicated project, like when you open up your non-linear video editor like Kdenlive, or like I used to use Final Cut Pro on macOS, it's just like when you have like all these tracks and like everything is just like separate, it's like it's just too much. Like it can just be too much. Like if you have like a screen capture track and that gets overlaid on top of the video track, then there's compositing throughout the entire video, or like throughout all of the parts of the video where both are present. That's like resource intensive, like, or processor intensive. That's like the computer has to work really hard to kind of to play those parts of the video. So you have to do like something like pre-rendering, or like or whatever, like just preview it, and like the jittery like kind of not so good preview that comes from just like having to do that overlay all the time. With this setup, like no overlay is needed. It can be just like done like this. And when I have this in my I'm using Kdenlive right now, so like when I import it into Kdenlive, I don't have to deal with a separate screen capture track. Like granted, like in this case I will have to add the phone video on top of it, but there's no way around this, like not at least not that I found so far. I mean, I could have like somehow like another camera that would also like record into OBS directly, and I think like there are ways to make your Android phone work as a webcam. I'm aware of those, but I kind of also I looked into that, and I haven't found an open source, like a free and open source way to do that, so that I'm not really inclined to use those kind of methods at the moment. It's not really difficult to overlay a video once in a while, but if I had to overlay the screen capture and the phone, that would be a lot of more work for both the computer and myself. So I guess I feel like I've talked about most things that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, this is basically it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this valuable, and that maybe it gave you some food for thought, but at the very least I just wanted to put it out there to share some kind of some things that I've learned from doing YouTube videos, and kind of ways that I found it worked for me to make the process of making those videos more efficient, and in some ways even better and more natural when like with things like being able to kind of do things on the fly with OBS. So So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.